The state television company Western Armenia represents the most important news for today. Good day. Today's broadcast. The 14th Council of Ministers of the Government of the Republic of Western Armenia. On the state recognition of Western Armenia in 1917, 1920, 1924. Islam and the genocide against the Armenians. The immutable changes of denial. A soldier was injured in the Kirantsi area. The Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations is visiting Eastern Armenia. The European Parliament has a new proposal. On May 6, the 14th Council of Ministers of the Government of the Republic of Western Armenia was held. The session was chaired by the President of the Republic of Western Armenia, Ms. Lidia Markosyan. During the session, the general situation of the government of Western Armenia was discussed. Vartan Simonyan, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Western Armenia, presented the details of his visit to Eastern Armenia. The members of the government mentioned that May 9 is the day of the Constitution of the Republic of Western Armenia. In his speech, the first president of the Republic of Western Armenia, Armine, stated that the constitution is the combination and balance of the ideas of statehood and freedom and the ground on which are built the statehood, civil liberties and constitutional order, from where the development of the state begins. The President Abrahamian mentioned that there will be a cool meeting that day. During the session, the members of the government proposed projects which will be covered by the state television of Western Armenia in the near future. On the state recognition of Western Armenia in 1917, 1920, 1924. In 1920, August was one of the happiest, most exciting, but also the most alarming times in the history of Western Armenia. The summer months were spent eagerly waiting for the final solution to the fate of United Armenia. The execution of the Peace Assembly was coming to an end, and the solution of the independence of Western Armenia and the Armenian issue was not far away. In April, in San Remo, the major powers had already outlined the future borders of the United Armenia and completed the reconciliation agreements, which was presented to Turkey in May. In 1920, on August 10, in the civil suburb of Paris, the peace agreement is signed. The treaty was signed by the British Empire, France, Italy and Japan, as well as the small allies Armenia, Belgium, Greece, Hejaz, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia and Czechoslovakia. The representative of Western Armenia was Nubar Pasha. Turkey was represented by Senator Hadi Pasha, Reza Tevfik Bey and Ambassador Extraordinary Plenipotentiary Minister of Turkey, Reşat Khalios Bey in Bern. The Treaty of Sivers consists of 443 articles, of which Armenia was merely concerned with 6 articles, 88 and 93. The treaty referred to both Western and Eastern Armenia. Turkey recognized Armenia as a free and independent state. Armenia, among others, was supposed to comprise the vilayets of Karin, Trabzon, Van and Bitlis, whose final borders would be drawn by the United States of America. After demarcation, Turkey has to give up all its rights to the territories passed to Armenia. A special commission was to be established within 3 months to determine the border of 2 countries. The Treaty of Sivers also referred to Eastern Armenia, where it was stated that the borders with Baku and Georgia should be determined by mutual agreement. If it was not possible to reach an agreement, then the borderline would be decided by the main allied states, that is England, France, Italy and Japan. You can watch the video on the topic on the YouTube page of Western Armenia TV. A direct example of manipulating the religious factor is the genocide committed against the Armenians in the Ottoman Empire at the beginning of the 20th century. Since the second half of the 17th century, discrimination against the Armenian population in Western Armenia, which came under the rule of the Ottoman Empire, was based on the religious factor from the beginning. In 1908, the Unity and Progress Party, which came to power as a result of the coup, initially tried to be guided by the slogans of equality, brotherhood and freedom, raising hopes among the oppressed people of the empire, including the Armenian political parties. However, it soon becomes obvious that the young Turks' political appeals and actual actions had little in common, and from the Hamidian pogroms against the Armenians to the young Turk genocide was just one step for the Turks. Under Sharia law, the legal status of Muslims and non-Muslims was defined from the beginning. Back in the 15th century, during the Arab invasion, those who did not accept Islam signed a contract. at El Zima, by which the Arab ruler undertook to preserve the individual political and social freedom of the Christian, in return for which they later had to pay taxes. That is, in Quran itself could not allow equality between Muslims and non-Muslims in its system. In fact, a two-layered society was being created on the one hand, and the Muslims who belonged to the ruling nations, and the non-Muslims who were at the lower level. Therefore, when in 1908 the young Turk forces came to power, promoting the slogan of equality, which did not correspond to the principles of Islam from the beginning. And the young Turks who came to power with the same principles of justice and equality once again confirmed that the fact they are ruling nation of Turks. Even their official oath was published in the semi-official Tanin newspaper of Ittihad at-Taraki. The editor-in-chief of the letter, Hussein Jahid, stated in an editorial that regardless of the course of events and the outcome, the Turks were and remain a ruling nation. The immutable changes of denial in the occupying Turkish government, in addition to the active denial presenting as a normal event, accusing Armenians of betrayal and presenting them as a victim, passive denial has taken its own place, keeping silent, not listening and not knowing. Active and passive denial began in the years of the genocide itself, and then with the establishment of the Republic of Turkey in 1923, it had a continuous nature. Speaking about the changes in the denial policy of the occupiers, it is possible to divide them into periods. There was active denial in the 1920s and 30s. Then the issue went into a phase of silence and inconspicuous and came to the agenda only in 16th, on the 15th anniversary of genocide against Armenians. In the 17th and 18th, the nature of denial changed during the actions of Asala and others, and the "we did not commit genocide" approach was replaced by the ideology "and we were massacred, we are the real victims and the betrayed." After 18th, denial about the genocide and in general the existence of the genocide against Armenians appeared on Ankara's agenda. Only Armenians abroad took any steps regarding recognition. A soldier was injured in Kirantsi area. A soldier was injured by an explosion in Kirantsi sector. A soldier was injured by a mine explosion. Madam Torosyan, press secretary of the Ministry of Defense of Eastern Armenia, told reporters. Torosyan noted that according to the preliminary data, the serviceman's life is not in danger. The military department does not specify where the incident took place, but various sources report that the explosion took place in the Kirantsi area during the mining operation. It should be reminded that on April 25, the Ministry of Defense reported again that the soldier was injured by a mine explosion. Although the Ministry of Defense did not specify the location of the incident, Garnik Danielyan, a deputy of the opposition Hayastan faction in Tavush, told Azatutsun that the incident took place in the Berkabe area. According to the deputy, the soldier's foot was damaged. The Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations is visiting Eastern Armenia. Ivan Azivkovich, Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, Director of the Regional Bureau of Europe and CIS countries, is arriving in Eastern Armenia on May 5 for a 4-day visit. The statement of the structure is that the purpose of the visit is to discuss the partnership of the United Nations development programs with the government of Armenia, to learn on the spot about the main interventions of the UNDP, the United Nations Development Program, including responding to the refugee crisis, as well as to observe the development agenda and key priorities with international and national partners. Meetings are scheduled with the President of the National Assembly of Eastern Armenia, the Deputy Prime Minister and the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, the diplomatic corps, as well as representatives of civil society. Ivan Azivkovich will visit Gegarkunik, Tavush, Arad, the Vayotsk, Dzor and Syunik regions as well. The European Parliament has a new proposal. The European Parliament proposed to involve the Satellite Center of the European Union in the monitoring programs of the record of the destruction of the Armenian heritage. On March 12, in 2024, the European Parliament adopted a resolution on closer ties between the EU and Armenia and the need for a peace agreement between Baku and Armenia. The resolution, by its point, confirmed that there are many Armenian churches, khachkars, and cemeteries in Artsakh which were significantly damaged and destroyed by Baku after the 2020 war. In addition, Baku has not complied with its December 7, 2021 decision of the International Criminal Court, according to which Baku should take all necessary measures to prevent and punish acts of vandalism and desecration of Armenian cultural heritage, not limited to churches and other places of worship, monuments, monument, landmarks, sites, cemeteries and artifacts. The European Parliament confirmed that over the past few months, the Baku authorities in Artsakh removed monuments and destroyed symbolic buildings related to Armenian cultural heritage, including the National Assembly building. This was all for today. Goodbye.
Ընտրում եմ ընկեր, դե աչքերդ բաց, մենք պահենք օղը մեր արյամբ լծված, դե վեկած ընկեր, մենք երկուս արեր, պիտի պայքարենք, օղը պաշտպանենք, ընկեր քո կողքին կանգնած, Թշնամուն կտանք արված, չենք թողնի, որ մոտենա, թեկուզ պամպուշ չունենանք, մենք հպարտենք, որ հայենք, հայրենիքի պաշտպանենք, թող աշխարհն էլ իմանա,